Collaborations. They're a thing in the fashion world that we're pretty familiar with. I mean, if you're paying any attention, it is very, very common to see like this X this or this X that. And sometimes it can yield pretty interesting things when they're two different, worlds colliding, creating something entirely new. But occasionally you do get two labels that have very similar outlooks coming together to create something, I don't know how to put the words to it, but maybe twice as cool. And I was very, very lucky to stumble upon this pair of boots, which is a collaboration between Julius, however you'd like to say it, and another Japanese brand you may not be familiar with called Siva. Long time no see, everyone. Hisashiburi, tanto tiempo sin verte. It's your old mate Cargon back at it again. This time with a look at the collaboration Julius and Siva spiral zip buffalo leather boots. Now, this pair of boots is something very, very special. I was genuinely not familiar with the brand Siva whatsoever, and rightfully so, because of late, Siva is doing something quite different compared to what they were doing at the time of these boots. Kind of similar how Julius started up Nilos and were going in a more techie, futuristic, sci-fi direction rather than the kind of like dark avant-garde. The things that, made Julius what Julius is today. So considering these boots themselves come from maybe 2015, 2016, it's hard to determine the exact date when they are from. There's not a lot to find about this collaboration, but I did find some information on Siva itself, knowing that they sort of came around in 05, 06, and it's collaboration between two people. Unfortunately, what I've found isn't very clear on names. I've just got Nakanishi and Tsuji. And around 2006 is when Siva sort of came through. And what we have is the brand concept here, which I had to pull off a Tumblr because there is nothing on, the official site that references like what they used to be. And we have the Hindu god Shiva, the god of destruction, design his creativity to achieve a core style methods and approaches represented in sound, space, and art, with such images that come into view like the elements of culture at the same time, where clothes are part of the image. As you can tell, this is Google Translated. But ultimately, in quotation marks they have here, we look to shape the sound. So they kind of are or were trying to, create their own version of cool, something that melded all their interests together. I suppose, this can also just be like brand speak. Like a lot of like labels say very, very similar stuff. It's just the different words that you choose. Whereas we look at Siva now and a look at their Instagram, it's very different. I mean, it's not for me. I do see how it's like functional, but it's always quite fascinating to see how brands ebb and flow over time itself as well. But with that being said, let's have a look at the boots, because I know that's probably what you're here for, not here to hear me wax lyrical about Siva and their origins. I generally don't find a lot of Siva clothes online either. You can check on Grailed, there's really not a lot there. There's not a lot on Medcari either. So it seems like the label, either the fans have really held on to what it was or has kind of just sort of like faded off a bit. But these boots are cool and let's show them off. So starting off with, I was very lucky to actually get the box for these. And as we can see here, you do have the box and we do have the logo. I'm going to try and get it as close as I can. So you can see the logo. It kind of reminds me, honestly, very, very close to potentially being something a bit problematic, especially right now. But it's not. It kind of also reminds me of like that flat PlayStation logo a bit. I know that kind of just imagery it's got there. It is a very simple box. It's very old, but we can also see we have luckily got the information here as well. It tells us it's in black. It also shows us the product code. And what's most interesting is that these come in a buffalo leather. The price as well was about 71,000 yen brand new. So these days, depending where, I guess like I'm just going to go in Australian dollars, that was probably maybe $800 in store, but had it been sold overseas, there's always a markup with, taxes, import fees, duties, all those sorts of things. So I would have probably put them maybe at $1,200. But also, I don't run a shop. Well, at least like a proper brick and mortar store. So that's me just throwing things out there. I'm sure that you've had the experience where you've seen something online and it's been X price, and then you see it in store and it is significantly more. There's lots of things to take into account. A store isn't trying to rob you blind. They just have to, pay people, pay rent. There's a lot of fees. There's a lot of things involved with being a physical presence. So yeah, it's cool to see that those things are listed on here as well though. And most notably, this is a size 2. So in Julius sizing, which is what I'm familiar with, a size 2 can vary, but in older pairs of shoes, like the engineer boots that I've got, a size 2 kind of fits like a 9 or a 10, sometimes a little bit bigger. There's a lot of space in there. So with these ones, I did see them in a 2, and in the write-up, they did mention that they do fit around that size, so I took a chance on them. And I can confirm that they do fit like a 9.5 to 10. The only thing, and this is something that is very, very specific to me, is that they kind of fit a little bit slim in the width and just the shape of the boot itself. My instep is really weird. I've spoken about this as well. I find it very hard to get into these. I need a shoehorn. However, that's just a me problem. Like, there's plenty of other people that have put on the shoes that I cannot even get my foot in, and they slip in just fine. So if you've got a weird instep, yeah, maybe, consider getting a shoehorn. If not, you're fine. Don't stress. A closer look at the boots though, we can see that we do have this sort of, it's not a super tall shaft. I'd say it's more of like a, medium sized shaft here, where there is, you can see in like the shoe itself, there are 2 different like finishes on leather. This part here is a lot more pebbly than the other part, which is like the main part of the shoe, which is a lot smoother. It does have texture to it throughout. It's just not as rough and muddled as this one here. So it's a really great little mix between things. Down the front of the shoe here, we can see we have this sort of cut out there where the 2 different layers meet and are attached to each other. Here is the inside of the shoe too. So by doing that as well, it takes us to, I suppose, the main feature, which is the spiral zip. You can see that at the very, very top, there is like this extra part of the zipper track that's left there on both ends, which is a very interesting detail. I think that's purely, how you say, aesthetics, because usually you do not see that section going any further than the end of the zipper track. And it does come all the way around from here, spirals, to down to the midsection of this shoe there. The zip itself is a very sturdy looking YKK zip with a very, very lovely, large, chunky zipper pull. It is so nice to use there too. The zips are, considering these are basically 10 years old, the zips, they still work. They're not as smooth as you'd hope, but they're not faulty or anything. These arrived with very, very battered soles. So the first thing I did after, trying them on, making sure they fit, was take them to the cobbler who, just put on new soles on the bottom. They did a pretty good job. They were in very, very bad nick. Like, this had completely separated. And as you can see on the back here, this had eaten into like the actual wood block of the heel itself. And they did an okay job. I mean, it's not the best job, but, definitely saved them a bit. And it's a reminder to definitely take care of your shoes. Never let this sole part completely eat into the wood block, because then you're in trouble. You're in lots of trouble. A close up here, you can see the number 2 for the sizing as well. So with that being said, let's do some on feet looks. I wanted to do 3 of them. One with a look of sort of just, maybe bootcut jeans over the top, one with skinny jeans, and one with some wider pants blouse. So you can just see the different ways that the shoes can look. So let's go pop these on and have a gander. So here we have the boots just with the Zamboret Zero jeans on bottoms. Pair of bootcut jeans doing their thing. But yeah, I think it looked pretty nice just sort of peeking out there. Nice. Alright, so here we have the same outfit but with some Yoju gabardine wide pants on bottom, and they're bloused with the boots as well. So you can see like the zips are on display on the back, which is pretty neat. Obviously you'd probably want to layer rather than just wearing a long sleeve on the top, but still pretty neat as well. Looking good. Suppose as well here, this is with the pants untucked. Just laying over the top there. Still look pretty neat. It's a very, very like sleek look they have to it. All right, so this is with a pair of the Villa DP01 denim. Tucked into the boots some skinny denim, just so you can see what they look like. Still pretty good. They do have enough space along the shaft to be able to tuck pants in, so that is a very good feature. These are very slim pants at the hem. I'm gonna see if I can put them over the top. Just bear with me. All right, works. Also looks pretty good with the pants over the top. Yeah. So there's a good idea of what they look like for you. Alright, so that was a look at different ways that the shoes can be worn and also how they look with different types of pants to get a better idea of how you can potentially style them. What do you think? I'm pretty happy with these. However, it's just a me thing, as I've always said. I've been trying to wear them in. It's not that they're not comfortable, it's that if I wear them for longer than 2 hours, my ankles start to really hurt. It is just the way that my feet are. Otherwise, they are so comfy. I don't know what happens because they're fine, they're fine, they're fine, they're fine. They're not fine is how it goes. And I don't get it. So I do load up my ankles with Band-Aids when I'm wearing them. And I do really want to give them a shot because I think they are amazing. I think they're so fine. And I don't want to have to get rid of them because I have issues. They don't pop up very often, these ones, so it was a very, very nice random find. But yeah, I hope you enjoyed the video. Definitely look up Siva if you can. You might not find a lot, but potentially what you might find might be something you're interested in. But yeah, thanks so much for watching. Hope you enjoyed the video. Hope you're all taking care of yourselves no matter where you may be. And I will see you next time. So be fun, take care, be fun. Have fun, take care. And as always, don't do anything I do, except check out some more collaborations. You never know what you might find, and potentially it might be something that you really like. And if it's something that you really don't like, at least it elicited some sort of response, which I reckon is a net positive. Like, you reacted to it rather than you just sat there and were like, All right, you'll be safe. See you next time. Bye-bye.